talking over 7 feet of water where we're standing right here.
Yes, absolutely. And then when we came back the next day, everything was covered in mud. Everything was dumped over sideways. Shelves were torn off the walls. Signs were off the buildings.
It was a disaster in the extreme.
But we were fortunate because we had volunteers.
We were sitting high. I'm 74, and we've now spent absolutely everything. It'll be a $250,000 disaster paid in bills by the time we're done.
The street was lined in cars. The parking lot was lined in cars.
Nobody had gotten out at that point.
And people walk around on a Sunday morning
thinking it was a heavy rainstorm.
Thinking it was a heavy rainstorm, nonchalant, not worried. I knew by the rate the water was rising that this was going to be the worst flood in history.
What's your plan now?
I don't know. I don't have a definite plan. I don't think it makes sense to rebuild here. And if I did rebuild, I would need to put it up high on piers, at least 8 to 10 feet high and very, very strong. And it's a much greater cost to build a building that way.
But it's happened to you twice.
It's happened twice.
First one was bad.
Yeah.
The second one was just devastating.
It was devastating, yeah.
You don't sleep, and you contemplate all night long as you lay awake what the morrow might bring and what you could possibly do to make it better. And then you look at Bangladesh on TV, and you look at India, and you look at hundreds of thousands of people. You look at the earthquake in Japan and the tsunami, and you say to yourself, oh, I think I can get through this okay. And finally you do.
I just want to say that I enjoyed meeting so many inspirational people in Wilmington. They will survive Irene. They will rebuild. And like so many residents said to me, they will be even better than before and ready for the ski season. When we come back, we once again visit the Schoharie Valley. This time, the stop is Middleburg.
With time comes change. News 10.
Irene was a storm beyond storms. Researchers have concluded for most areas it was a 200-year flood. Others even say a 500-year. What we do know is the Schoharie Creek has never been so high. From the Gilboa Dam to the Mohawk River, the Schoharie Creek was 12 to 15 feet above flood stage, going straight through Middleburg.
It was just something. It was a terrible, terrible thing. This was twice as much water as we've ever seen. Twice as much. And it was a lot harder. It wasn't kind of lackadaisical water. It was
moving.
It was really moving. You've probably seen the effects of that. And that's what did it. I mean, really, it broke windows out. I mean, we were very lucky no one was killed.
The people came out in droves and helped us. It was unbelievable. A couple days later, every one of these stores had people helping them clean the mud out.
This is the hardware store on Main Street. This was one of the central points for people to gather, talk about the event of the flood, and to gather supplies and goods to make sure they could get through this terrible day. Let's head on inside. Rich, good to see you again.
Nice to meet you.
It's
good to see you.
Last time I was here was a little bit different.
Yes.
It was pretty crazy. Tell us how things have been. I know the day of the flood. I mean, you and your family have been here. You've owned this since 1975.
Yep.
You could never imagine something like that.
Nope. When we walked in, it was just mud and debris scattered throughout the whole store. It was something you never want to go through.
I know that you helped out people with building supplies and things that they needed right away. Never thought twice.
Nope. They're friends, they're family. They're not just friends, they're family. Everybody in this town, it's such a small niche town that...
Well, yeah, you probably know just about every single person that comes in there by name.
Yeah, it's more family than friends. It's not really a business relationship. They're family. You know what they've gone through. And that's how it's been the whole time. You feel guilty charging because you know what they've gone through. You know, it's really tough. It's just been an unbelievable community. That's why we're back and running. That's why everybody's coming back, because everybody knows. You know, and I hope other towns like Schoharie and a few others that got hit, they all preach off us. And what's Middleburg doing? Well, Middleburg is coming back. You know, Schoharie was hit really hard, Prattsville, and they all have to see like what we're doing to come back.
I'm here walking across the Route 145 bridge in Middleburg. This is the Schoharie Creek to my left. Notice it's still chocolate brown from the day of the floods with Irene. 2 weeks before, my wife and I were in here knee-deep water catching smallmouth bass. It's hard to believe. The river, the creek, rose all the way up to the top rail going over the bridge. People have been through literally hell.
Yes.
and yet they smile at you. They're upbeat. Yeah, they have good days and bad days. But they're making it happen. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it.
I don't like. We're kind of on the frontier, you know. I mean, we're very, very strong people. We work hard, and we play hard. But when something like this happens, you go help your neighbor, and that's our philosophy. You know, we may fight one day, but the next day we're walking arm in arm. So that's what I truly believe that's what happened here.
This is one of the favorite hangouts for a lot of folks here in Middleburg to talk about what happened. And this in itself, Kelly's, is a real success story after the floods. Yeah, how high was the water with respect to behind you? How high did the water?
40 inches, right about to here.
Almost to the top of the counter there?
Yeah, right to here. Just below the cash register. I mean, just to see the people that come in the first 2 days to help me out. I mean, you know, just people I would never ask, you know, because they're a lot younger than I am, or, you know, it just was amazing. Most of the work was done by friends and family and customers, you know. I mean, they'd come from work at night, work from 5 o'clock until 10 o'clock, go home, go to bed, and go to work as a regular job the next day.
And I think that's part of being in the community here. I know Kelly's is
well, you also got to remember that on Main Street, if you noticed, all the places that were open early were the ones that were owned by the people that own the buildings.
So you were here.
I own the building. What else am I going to do, you know?
John, I know this is like a tradition.
Are you going to toss for the Valentine?
I'm tossing up there. So when anybody comes to Kelly's, and I've done this before, down over the other end there, you got to throw money. This is where you put your tip money.
Bingo.
Bingo. And that's going to help out. And this is, I'll tell you.
When my wife cleaned it out, when we were cleaning, they were painting the ceilings and stuff, she got $168.
That's not bad. Hey, John, thank you very much.
Steve, stop again.
Oh, you'll see me back here. I won't be working next time I come here, but it's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes.
When we come back, I'm going to share with you some ways that you can still help the flood victims, or I should say, flood survivors, right after this. There are so many ways that you can help the flood survivors. It may be financially, it may be with volunteering your time to do work on someone's home, or maybe for the holidays, find a family that has lost so much and help make their holiday season a little bit brighter in your own special way. Here are some other ways that you can help. You can make a donation to the Salvation Army's Empire State Division by going to salvationarmyusa.org or by calling 1-800-SAL-ARMY. In Windham, the Area Relief Foundation has started a fund called Windham Rebuild After Hurricane Irene. It's set up to help victims in Greene County. You can donate by going to windhamrebuild.org or by sending a check to WARF at 61 State Route 296 in Windham. To help provide tuition assistance for students affected by Irene, SUNY has set up a SUNY Helps website. You can donate by going to suny.edu/SUNY Helps or email SUNY Helps at suny.edu. And many of our libraries were damaged by the storm. The New York Library Association is collecting donations through their website at www.nyla.org. And of course, there are plenty of other ways you can donate either your time or money. We put a link on our website with how you can help. Just go to news10.com, click on links, and look for how you can help. After this break, we're going to learn about FEMA and what they do when a disaster strikes of this magnitude.
This goes to all the unfortunate people.
$50,000.
From Curtis Lumber.
That's not a little check. $5,000 is huge. Thank you.
Well, no problem.
Yes, we are contributing $10,000 to the American Red Cross.
And welcome back, everyone, to Faces of Irene. Joining me is Pete Lembesis, who is the Public Information Officer from FEMA. Pete, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having me.
I know FEMA has really been working hard here in New York and New England. You've been here since shortly after Irene hit on August 28th. Tell us, first of all, what FEMA is and how is it determined when FEMA gets deployed to a particular part of the country?
The best thing to do to start our conversation is to tell you what FEMA mission is.
Okay.
And the mission is to support our citizens and first responders to ensure that as a nation we work together to build, improve our capability to prepare for and protect against, respond to, recover from, and mitigate all hazards. And by all hazards, we mean natural or man-made.
In this case, it was the floodwaters that hit this part of the country.
That is the hardcore of what we're doing as FEMA. So when a disaster hits, the first thing is the governor from every state, in this case from New York, they apply to the president for a declaration. And the state with FEMA, they send teams of people to do a PDA, preliminary damage assessment. We ask the people to register. From the time they register, an inspector will go to the homeowners that they have damages, and they will assess the damage. And that will take between about 7 to 10 days. If everything's okay and those survivors, as we call them, they qualify, their money will be in their bank within 3 to 5 days.
And this is grant money. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It's money that the government's giving you to get you back on your feet again.
Correct.
Even if you don't physically see damage, if there's any possibility, you should register.
Absolutely. Some people also, they might have insurance. We want them to register because they might not, their insurance might not cover the total damage.
So what number should people call? It's still not too late. You got 2 more days. And, this is it. No more extensions?
1-800-621-FEMA or go online, disasterassistance.gov. No more extensions. No more procrastination. Grab that phone and do it.
I want to thank you so much. And
thank you very much.
Thank FEMA. And I know this guy hails from Arizona. We want to get you home before the winter sets in, my friend.
Oh, you mean those little white things that are coming from the sky?
You haven't seen anything yet.
Okay.
And Pete, thank you very much. And don't forget, you have 2 more days to register. Please do that. Once the 15th passes, that's going to be it, though.
That's it. Period.
All right, Pete, thank you. And we'll be back with more Faces of Irene right after this. South of the Gilboa Dam, the Schoharie Creek was at its worst. Hunter, Tannersville, and especially Prattsville were devastated. News 10's Christine O'Donnell went back to Prattsville to see how families were rebuilding their lives.
Right after Tropical Storm Irene hit the town of Prattsville, you may remember seeing this yellow house. The force from the water pushing it off its foundation. Well, that home is now a pile of rubble off of Main Street this Thanksgiving. 6-year-old Jamison Reichert and his father Dave lived in the home.
More apples we can put around the turkey?
Yeah, but I have to find a bag for him, honey.
They came to the Great American Grocery Store to pick up some last-minute supplies. Dave appeasing his son's little requests.
He said, and the first Thanksgiving they had clams, so.
Reichert is an attorney. He says he's been living with his mother since losing the home. He spent part of his Thanksgiving looking through what he and his family lost nearly 3 months ago.
Shocking still. Expected, but, you know, I'm glad it was, I'm glad the boys finally got around to knocking it down.
Dave says though he did not expect to be standing in the rubble of his home this holiday, he's still got plenty to be thankful for, and so does his son.
That I wasn't in the flood when it happened.
After this break, a look at the news covering this storm from a perspective that you don't normally see. For a news department covering a natural disaster on this magnitude is something many of us have never done, and hopefully will never have to work through again. It was a day that all of us will remember, for we knew what was unfolding before our eyes was not only frightening, but also life-threatening to so many viewers. Here's a look from behind the scenes on August 28th.